Hello, it's Mac here, and today I'm talking about the new adversary mode in GTA Online called Entourage. So this is a new adversary mode in GTA Online, and it was added a few days ago with the new Stunt race creator, and it is basically a new adversary mode where there is a VIP or a target, and he or she only has one life, and they have to get to an extraction point. And they are being hunted by a team of assassins. But to help them get there, they have a team of bodyguards. Now, the bodyguards will have the same amount of players as the attackers, and overall, it's a pretty fun adversary mode. I actually found it to be pretty enjoyable, and it's pretty good. It's kind of like Extraction, but if it was a little bit more, close quarters, and there weren't any vehicles, and the maps were a little bit linear, and it's a little bit of fun. And I do actually kind of like this adversary mode. And it's pretty much just an escort adversary mode. And that's actually pretty fun. A lot of people have compared it to Cops vs. Crooks from GTA 4. And I'd say that's pretty good of a comparison, but at the same time, since there aren't any vehicles, it feels more like an Extraction adversary mode, which I'd say even Extraction feels maybe a little bit more like Cops and Crooks than this adversary mode. It was actually pretty fun. Now, this is a 12-player adversary mode like a lot of the ones that they have introduced. It's usually 8 or 12 players for most adversary modes. So this one is 12, just like Extraction. And like I said, it's a little bit different than Extraction where there aren't any vehicles. And that does change up quite a bit of, sort of how this game mode is played. Where, it's mostly like crossing streets and, going through alleyways and stuff. And that does kind of change it up. Where, in Extraction, you'd have a lot more vehicle combat and a lot of longer range combat. Whereas here, it seems to be very close quarters, and I actually do kind of like that. And it's also a very asymmetrical game mode, much like Extraction, where in Extraction, one team, the bodyguards, they have better weapons than the attackers, but they have less lives. I think in Extraction, you do actually have less lives of the bodyguard. I may be wrong on that, but much like in this game mode, you only have a limited amount of lives for each person, or, each player only has, I think it's 2 lives, so they can get 3 in total if you count their, first life. So they get 3 lives in total, and I don't think that goes up for the amount of players, but it may. I've only played it with about 6 players, and so if you die, you have to start spectating. So it's actually a pretty good system where the attackers, they can pretty much, if they're good enough, can take out the bodyguards, because bodyguards have the same amount of health as them, although the attackers have less weapons. They have worse weapons, so it's going to take a while, whereas the bodyguards, they can just overpower the enemies with their more powerful weapons and their explosives and stuff. And it is kind of like that asymmetrical gameplay that I do actually kind of like. Same with the actual target. The target is slower, which makes this game mode pretty slow. So crossing the street is very difficult, especially with lots of players. If a lot of assassins are trying to take you out, it's going to be difficult to cross the street because you're so slow. But you still have a lot more health. I think the health is probably about as much as the Beast. So I don't know. The Beast is 2,500. It may be a little bit less than that. But since the Beast is so fast in the Beast game mode, that it's a little bit difficult to take him out. Whereas this guy, the speed is pretty much the same as if you're doing a heist with the heavy armor, or, the, utility vest and stuff like that. And just a little bit of a tip, if you're an assassin and you're trying to ever go up against a VIP, or the target, and if you have a few teammates with you, and there aren't really any bodyguards around, just melee the target, much like what you do with, a beast to take them out. Just melee him, he'll fall to the ground, he can't do anything. And it's such a great tactic, so you can just take him out, and you can easily shotgun him as well, which is just, it's a very good tactic if there aren't many bodyguards around trying to take you out. As for the actual maps on this adversary mode, though, there are 3 maps. One is in the sort of, it's a little bit near Legion Square, and it's also near, that police station down there, the one that you go for in the Prison Break heist, to get that stuff. And honestly, this is a pretty good map. It has a bit more verticality than some of the other maps, and it is something you will see with these maps, is that it does actually incorporate some built-in verticality. It's usually just about one story Rarely will it ever be 2 stories. But my thing is that it feels more in favor of the bodyguards because they actually have like longer range weapons and snipers and stuff. But really, I didn't find much point. There are very few situations where as a bodyguard you'd want to be up high in an area. And as a target, you don't want to be up high in an area because you're going to spend more time up there. And sure, you're going to be able to take off assassins, but once you get down there, the assassins are already going to respawn, and your goal is to head towards the chopper and to get away. So really, it's not that great of a strategy to go up high on these rooftops. Maybe as a bodyguard if you're going to try and snipe, but really, you're going to eventually have to come down and defend your target. So I felt like just sticking with your target is a better idea. And as an assassin, you're not really going to be able to do much up there. Really, the verticality doesn't really make much sense in this adversary mode, and I didn't find it that much useful. So the first map is pretty decent. As for the second map though, this one is Vespucci Canals, and it's decent, but just something about it I don't like too much. I just never really liked the Vespucci Canals area. It's a pretty, beautiful area, but for actual like combat and stuff, I just feel like there's too many areas where you can just hide. But this particular map does incorporate water to it, so that is kind of cool. You can, go in the water. I even had one match where I had all my bodyguards, distract all the assassins, where I just go swim across to the extraction point. And that's actually kind of fun. As for the third map, though, this one I played the least, and it's okay, but it just feels a lot like Entourage 1. And that's kind of my main complaint with the maps. And with the game mode itself, it just starts to feel repetitive. And while I like the game mode, just the maps, I would have liked a little bit more variety. Where are the maps that are set in like a forest? Up in like Paleto Bay area and Paleto Forest and like the Radon Canyon area. Could you imagine a map like that? Where you are set in like the Radon Canyon area and you have to go through this forest. And the assassins can try and hunt you down. And they're gonna hide in like these trees and stuff or these bushes. Where are the maps set in like the desert or the grapeseed area? Those would have been pretty cool maps, and I would have liked to have actually seen those. But really, just the maps, they start to feel repetitive, and that's one of my main complaints. And overall, the game mode itself starts to feel repetitive. Honestly, there isn't enough to keep me playing this adversary mode. It's fun, but it feels like I've already done this before. It feels a lot like Extraction. But at least Extraction had those cool moments, those cool chase scenes where you're in a vehicle and you're trying to take out helicopters that are coming after you once you pick up your VIP. Or, you're trying to take out the VIP and he just got into a helicopter and you're in your search and trying to take him out. Or, he's trying to get into a helicopter and you're trying to take out the pilot so that the helicopter crashes and he's not able to get out. Or in Extraction, you're a bodyguard and you're trying to extract the VIP, but you're trying to search for him because you don't know where he is. And then you shoot his flare, and then both teams see that flare, and they know where that VIP is. So that VIP is trying to hide, but you're trying to find him. But then he also has to stay away from the actual people trying to take him out. Those are some amazing moments that really Extraction has so much of. A lot of the other adversary modes, they don't really have that. And Entourage included. And that's what I love so much about Extraction. Sure, a lot of things have to go right for those to happen, and sometimes the game mode just doesn't work that well, whether you don't have many players, because that game mode does require a lot of players for it to be good, or you just have bad teammates. But those moments are so much fun. In my review for Extraction, I called it those only in Battlefield moments, and while they aren't exactly like only in Battlefield moments, if you ever kept up with the Battlefield 4, sort of marketing campaign, they called them those only in Battlefield moments, and they'd have like those moments where vehicles were going at each other, and just these, super like action movie scenes were going down, and you sort of saw those in Extraction, where you'd be in a helicopter and you'd be trying to take people out, or you'd be on a bike and a helicopter shooting at you, but you're still worried about, trying to extract the VIP. A lot of those moments don't happen in Entourage. Sure, there are all those fun moments where you get like a few kills very quickly with a sniper, but you aren't going to get the exact amount of those cool moments that you'd get in Extraction. And that's really my main complaint. Just the game mode itself, it starts to sort of get repetitive, and I don't really see myself going back and playing it after, you know, a few weeks, because I feel like I've already sort of seen everything that there is to see with this adversary mode. I'm hoping that they will eventually start to introduce more maps, because that's one of the main complaints, is that just the maps, they start to feel repetitive, and that I would like to see maps in other areas. And the only reason why I feel I'm going to keep playing this adversary mode is because of the double money, which is pretty good. You know, the double money is pretty nice, but once that goes away, just something about this adversary mode, it just starts to feel repetitive. And honestly, it kind of just feels like Extraction, but without all the cool moments of Extraction that made Extraction unique. But anyways, what are my thoughts on this adversary mode in the comments? Did you like it? Do you not? What are your thoughts on it? Let me know your thoughts on that in a comment. Hope you enjoy. Feedback is appreciated. I'll see you guys in the next video.